Do you have a 1943 double die quarter worth thousands of dollars? What about other dates and mints? Well, we're going to look at 1940 to 1949 quarters to see what you need to be looking for. So stay tuned. Here's my website, portsmouthcoinshop.com. If you're interested in buying or selling coins, you can send me an email here. I do have items on sale. I do have a couple rolls left of the Walking Liberty half dollars. I have the Mint State 25th Anniversary Silver Eagle Mint State 70 on sale for $34. Also, I have the Proof 70 on sale for $55. Really good prices on those coins. So now we're going to talk about Washington quarters from 1940 to 1949 that you should be looking for in all of these rolls. A lot of people are not interested in Washington quarters. It seems like lately they just kind of went stale on sales. We can sell dimes and we can sell halves, but it just seems like people are kind of overlooking these Washington quarters. So I think it's time to look at these. Now, I just did a video from 1932 to 1939. I encourage you to go back and look at that video and watch it. It'll tell you the dates and mint marks to look for and the varieties from those years as well. Now, for those of you who are new to my videos or maybe need a refresher, I also use Wechsler's double dies. You can look through and see even more double dies that's not listed on PCGS. Also, Konica, you can come over to Variety Vista and you can look at more. And these are more in-depth explanations of where the double dies and RPM are actually located. You can choose what decade you want to look at or what coins. Like I mentioned the 1943 that's worth a lot of money, the double die. Man, it is worth a bunch of money, and you've got to be looking for that one when you get an opportunity to look through rolls of Washington quarters. It's worth a lot of money, and it really increases in value. So you have that over here. So I encourage you to also use this as a resource to help you identify these. I'm going to go through these. I'm not going to go in depth on what they look like. I'm going to show you what to look for, and then we're going to kind of move through these because there's a lot. As you can see, I've got a lot of tabs open here, and this is PCGS Price Guide. And for those of you who haven't seen my other videos, when you go to PCGS, here's how that works. You want to look at this little box right here, and you'll see a plus sign. You click on the plus sign, it drops down, it shows you varieties to look for. So we're going to get started. First up is the 1940D. This is an FS101. It is a double die, and you just click on the images and you can see what direction the double die is and what to look for. And remember, a lot of these have multiple double dies for the same date and mint. There's a few years here, there's 2 or 3 years. They're not all equal, they're not all worth the same. So you really have to narrow it down when you're looking at these. And that's why you see this number right here. That's the die pair that's been identified for this one. And yes, you'll have the FS501, 401, or 101, or 102. That helps identify it as well. That's the classification. So this one here is a D over D, and you've got to really look at it close. There's going to be some angles on these that you're not going to be able to see it in these pictures. That's why I encourage you. Now, this one here, you can see it. And over on this side of the right side of the picture, you can actually download it. I'll do this one more time for everybody so that you can see this mint mark really well. You wait for it to load, and it depends on what your internet speed is, on how long that will take you. But I'm going to do it today because I want everyone to know how to do this, because this is how you identify it. You're not going to get better internet images. Although I do tell everyone that you're looking at, like I said, the D over D, you're actually looking at a 2D image and you're looking at it at one angle. So you're looking straight on. Sometimes some things need to be turned and into light and look at different angles to see it, a little bit of magnification. Now this one's the 1941 Double Die Obverse. And like I said, as you're looking through these, you can look at the little call-out box. You can see where the double's out on the In God We Trust. The first thing I look at when I'm looking for a double die is I look at the In God We Trust, the motto. And then, of course, you can look at the ear, you can look at the Liberty and different areas like that, and the date. Not all double dies are doubled that much. Some are just a double, just a little bit of a spread or just a little more thickness. It depends on the classification of double die it is. And like I said, Wechsler's has the 8 classes listed, and I encourage you to read those and to study them. Then you have another 1941 double die, and this one is the FS102. And like I said, when you come down here, look at the prices. We can jump back to this 101 and see the prices on this one. You can see if there's any difference or not. And sometimes some of them are not different in value. Some of them are different dramatically in value. So here's the other 41. And when you're looking at these, you're looking at a different class of double die or a different amount of spread. That would identify that die pair, and it's different. For those of you who don't know, they used to use 2 squeezes to make 2 impressions in the die when they created it, and they doubled the die that struck the coin. So here's the FS103. This is one of the dates that has multiple double dies. As you can see, this one's worth a little bit more. So that's one of the things that's very important, because you might see a 1941 double die for sale, and it might be for sale for $100. In reality, it's the $60 version. It's a $60 die pair, so you have to know that. It's very important. And here's yet another one, but this one's a double die reverse. So then you're looking at the reverse die, and you can just have to look at the area, and here you go. You got a little bit on the dollar. And like I said, Wechsler's will have more details. As you can see, this one here is a lot more valuable than the Double Die Obverses for this year. Here is a 1941 D. This is a double die as well. Look at the motto. And sometimes there'll be die marks on the reverse that'll identify it. Sometimes there will be die cracks. But not every coin with a die crack in the same area will be a double die. You have to have that doubled feature on the coin. Either the double motto or letters or the ear or the date. Here's a 1941 D, and this is a double die reverse, the FS801. And when you start seeing 801 and that kind of thing, you are looking at multiple double dies for this year that's just not listed, because PCGS lists the ones that are relevant to them, the most relevant ones, and they'll put that on their holder. And you do have to pay for Variety Plus. They will not just label your quarter a double die just because it is, and you turn it into them. That's not how it works. You have to list it on their form, and you have to use their number that they have. Like I said, I did a video on how to submit coins to PCGS and NGC, and I talk a little bit about the Variety Plus and also Variety Attribution and how much it costs. This one here is the large S. Now the best thing to do with this is just to have a normal S 1941 to see what it looks like. Sometimes you have to wait on that to pop up, and that's a large S. I want to actually look at the value of this. This is a valuable coin. You can probably, even when you're in the lower grades here, we can look back, even in the circulated grades, we're talking about, a lot more of a premium on it than a normal 1941. So you want to look for that. And here's another large S, and this is the 503. So you got a different die pair for this. And this one, let's see, I think it's worth, is it worth about the same? Yeah, it's worth pretty close to the same. So you have the 503, and then you have the 501. Very important to identify these properly so that you know which one you're selling or which one you're trying to buy, and you don't buy the cheaper one for the higher price one. So here's the FS101 1942, and it's obviously a double die obverse. As you can see, it's pretty mundane because it's going to be on the motto. And then you have a 1942, and this is the double die reverse, and it's the 801, number 14. So like I said, there's going to be multiples for these. So you definitely want to pinpoint the exact one. This is a valuable one. I mean, even in circulated grades, look at this, $335. So it's well worth your effort to take a look. There's a lot of double dies in the 40s. So 1942, this is another double die, and this is the FS802. This is the 14.3. So there's going to be a variation on this one. And that's where Konica comes in handy. It'll tell you what direction. Matter of fact, we can just kind of take a look over here, and let's say we're going to look at the 41. It tells you the spread, where it's at, what direction, whether it's southwest, west, like this, counterclockwise. It's very important to note. So also this one's more valuable than the just the 14.3 is. And I can't stress that enough. You don't want to buy the wrong one for the wrong price. This one here is the 1942 DDR FS 803. You can see the value there. And then we have the 1942 D Double Die Reverse. Try to look at some of these images. And sometimes you won't see it apparent. It's very apparent in the images. It's just why you should do your research on it. Sometimes you're going to see die deterioration. See this one here? I mean, you can see that there is a little bit. I mean, it's hard to see these. The way these are so close to the rim, and a lot of times you'll see the die cavity kind of, I wouldn't say bleed, but wear into the rim of the coin. If it's circulated, it's a lot. Sometimes it's difficult to identify these. And you know, this one here is a valuable one, so you definitely want to be looking for it. So then you have a 1942 D Double Die Reverse again. And this is the 80116. Then you have another 1942, which is the 15. This is FS 101. Like I said, you know, it's very important to look at these. This one here, you can see in God We Trust, you can see the thickness of the lettering. And I do encourage those who are looking for double dies to look at Wechsler's 8 classes. I've mentioned that already, but I just can't stress it enough. It don't seem like enough people watch these videos. You get thousands of people watch my videos. It don't seem like a lot of them are actually going to Wechsler's and studying out those 8 classes. They're very important. It'll open your eyes to a lot of things. And like over here, it just shows you where the doubled areas are going to be on the coin. You can always click on that. Blow up these images, study them and study them. I mean, this is a really nice looking double die actually when you get to looking at it. Pretty thick lettering on these. Then you have a 1943 Double Die Reverse. Now this, you definitely want to be able to identify whenever it is circulated. So you want to click on this image over here. And we're going to look at the values of these. Do you see this? 17,000 Mint State 64. This is the one of them that I'm talking about, although there's more than one version of these. But man, we're talking, if you can find this one in circulated grades, look at that. $1,150 is the retail on this in fine 15. I mean, even if you went to very good 8, you're looking at $200. I mean, this is well worth looking for, and it is only this one here, though. This is the only one that's worth that much. I mean, there's other versions, but I mean, each one of them have a different value, as we'll see here. So here's another 43 double die, and this is the 16.5. And as you can look at the values, very similar in value, but you know, there's going to be different ones here. You're going to see a 43 double die up, and it may not be equal. Here's a double die versus another one, and this is the FS 102. As you can see, it's not worth the same, and that's very important. Here's another 1943 double die versus this is the 103. When I come down here and look at the value of this, very valuable as well. So you can see that how easy you can be confused by the wrong double die. You want to make sure you have the right die pair, the right classification. Here's another, that's the 1943D now. This is the double die FS 101. So in 1943, you've got some very valuable double dies, but you want to make sure you know which one it is. And here's a 1943S. This is a medium S. It's the FS 502. So you want to have a picture of, and a lot of times they'll have it over here. They don't have it here, but you want a normal S and then have it so you can compare it to see if you have a medium S. And there are pictures on here, this PCGS price guide, of coins with the regular S, and you can blow them up. You can actually save the images and use Photoshop or some type of photo editing, and you can put them side by side like I do. Here's a 1943 SS. This is the repunch mint mark. That's what an RPM is. So that's what it's going to look like there. You can see a little bit of the S underneath, a little bit of remnant of the first S. And here's the values of that one. It's a good, nice little RPM. Then you have another, it's a 43 S over S. It's the FS 504. And when you come down here and look at the values, you see which one that you really want to be looking for compared to. Then you have a 1943S. This is a goiter. Now this is right on the neck. It's actually, you know, a die break. I mean, it's, like I said, I can come over here and you can hit the, and it looks like it's just a a raised area or extra metal, but it's not. It's actually where the die has broken. There's a little bit of a chip there, and it filled in with the planchet metal. And you look at the other images of it. This is the close-up of a circulated coin. And when you look at this kind of stuff, like die cracks and all that, and they're not always worth a lot of money. This one here has a little bit of value to it. Now I know we're looking at the 63 values. I know most people are going to be finding these in rolls, and you're probably going to be seeing them in these lower grades. So it's worth a little bit more in the lower grades, but it's not extremely valuable. 1943 S, this is the trumpet tail S. So what you're looking for is an S that has the trumpet tail. And you just compare it to regular S's. That's the best way of doing that. And you can come down here and see how much value it is. In the circulated, it's not as valuable. A lot of these are more valuable when they're found in the uncirculated grades. Now we have the 1943 S Double Die FS 101, and this is the 17. Here it shows you the details of this one. It's a good looking double die. So you come down and see the value. It's not extremely rare in the lower grades, but you start getting some value in the higher grades. It's still a good coin to find in circulated condition. A lot of these are easier to identify too whenever they're in the higher grades. That might be part of the reason some of the values are kind of skewed a little bit. Here is the 1944 Double Die FS 101. And you can see the value of that one there. And then we have a 1944 D Double Die FS 101. And there's the value. It's not extremely rare, that one's not, but it's a double die. Then you have a 1944 S Double Die FS 101. It's a 17.5 version. And that's why this one's got that value on it. Like I told you before, you want to make sure you do identify the die pair for the correct double die, because you can go over to Kunica and you can see all kinds of them. It's a lot of double dies here. 1945 Double Die Obverse FS 101, number 18. You come down here and see the value. Then you have the 1945 S. This is Double Die FS 101. That's a nice coin there. I like that patina. It looks like it came out of a mint set. It's been around cardboard of some sort. It looks like album toning. It's a really nice coin there. You can see the value of this one. It's a little bit better than the other previous ones I've shown here. The 1945 S, and this is another one. It's a Double Die FS 102. And this one here there's the value of that one. And this here's your population reports as well. It tells you how many are graded in those grades. Some of these coins are a lot more rare than the value indicates. Here's a 1946, and this is the Double Die Obverse FS 101. And try to see if we can see it in these images. Like I said, you're not always going to see it in the images here. Here's that area. See, that's not double die. That's not, you see how flat that is? I'm going to take a look at this a little bit closer. I want everyone to see this. I get a lot of questions on if this is a double die, and the reason is because people will see a picture of a double die and they'll have a coin that has the T and the Y that look like this, and they're thinking that that's the double die part. It's not. So what we're going to do, since this one's hard to see, we're going to look. This is not. This is from basically a roll crimping machine or a counting machine. Something squashed those letters. They're not thicker or anything like that to be a double die. That's a little bit of damage on the coin that's acceptable. It's circulation damage or counting wheel damage. I should say counting machine wheel damage. So what we're going to do on this one here, when look, start at the ear, it's not apparent where the double die is at on this. Here's another image, so you can look at the other image as well. But if you want to know where, let's say, the pups are, the pickup points for this, then we need to go over to Wexler's double die, and we're going to go to the quarters, and we want to go down to the 1946 double die. And here it shows what it's supposed to look like. Now there's going to be variations, so we want to know which one we're looking at here. And it's the FS 101, and you have the FS 801. So you got 001, that's the Wechsler's classifications for it. It does show you the Konica 2101. Sometimes they don't have the FS number on these when you're looking at research, and it can confuse you, but if you come down through here and you want to look at which one, and it shows you a little better image and where the doubled is at, so you can look at it in hand and you get an idea of which one you're looking for. So that's how you do that. So here's another 46. It's the 801 18.2. And then you have the 1946 D over D. Now this is an RPM. And you can see the value of this one. It's a good one to find for something in the upper uncirculated grades. Then you have a 1946 S over S. This is the FS 501. And there are also variations. These mint marks were actually hand punched, and there are different variations of the RPMs, some just more rare than others. Here you have that see, this not a double die at all, and you can see that on that lettering again. So when you see that on a coin, doesn't make it double die. This one's pretty common, so it's going to be one of them that you could probably find. Probably a little hard to identify sometimes when they're circulated. Then we have a 1947 Double Die Obverse, FS 101. And we're getting into the more common ones here again. This is a 1947 S over S. This is a repunch mint mark. Then we have the 1947 S over S FS 502. Those are pretty nice coins that you can see here. If anything, it's a little bit of eye candy. This one's a little bit better, a little more rare. 1948 S over S. This is the FS 501. And this one is a little more rare. As you can see in the low grades here, $285.63. Not far off. A lot of these coins are worth almost as much just uncirculated with the mint mark in the 40s and the 30s. Typically those are going to be valuable with a mint mark anyways. The variety sometimes adds a lot of value, sometimes it doesn't add a lot. Here's another one's a value. This one is the over mint mark, okay? And Wechsler's has the explanation for that, and there is a little bit of a difference. And what we're going to do, we'll go over here to the over mint marks. So you don't want to get confused. You definitely want to know your acronyms, and over here at Wechsler's it'll explain what they are. You got the RPM, which is a rib punch mint mark, and then you can scroll down to the over mint mark and just get an idea of what the difference is and how much difference there is. There's a lot of controversy on some of the definitions of things, and that's just part of this searching coins. That's just part of the nature of the game here. Then you have, last but not least, 1949 D over D FS 501. Well, that's an odd tone coin there. But still yet, you know, it's graded 66. And this one here is not as rare, but it's one to look for. So there we go. That's an exhaustive list. I mean, that is a lot of double dies and RPMs and different mint mark variations. But thanks for watching my latest video. Please hit the sub button and get ready, because 1950 to 1959 is coming up next. Let me know if you enjoy these videos, if it helps you out, and have a great day.